Do you ever feel like you're simultaneously trying really hard at something and at the same time not trying hard enough and then failing? I think I've been feeling this really intensely lately, and I also think that many of you who might be still struggling with binge eating, despite watching all the videos, listening to the podcasts and trying to put everything into practice, like you're still binging, you're still there. And on one hand, you're exhausted from battling with it. And on the other hand, you feel like I'm clearly not trying hard enough. I don't feel like I'm doing all the things that I know I could be doing or I should be doing in order to get the outcome that I want. When I've been trying to record this week's YouTube video, I've tried to record 3 different videos on 3 different subjects, and none of it was feeling right or sounding right. And so when I stopped and I reflected on where I was at and what was going on for me, I had a lot of emotions come up. And so I really wanted to do one about failure, because if you're feeling like you are failing at binge eating recovery, like I get it. I really thought recovery meant, if I managed to get a handle on my eating, I would feel like I succeeded at something. And I imagined that I would feel like a success, because gosh, if I could get a handle on my eating, I could do anything. And all those feelings and all those patterns of my personality and emotions that I was playing out with food just got transposed onto other parts of my life. So I don't get to avoid all those feelings that I felt with the binge eating and was trying to avoid with the binge eating. They're still there. So if this is you, if this is how you're feeling, I'm feeling it with you. So the words that I want to share with you today are probably what I need to hear right now as well. And so maybe some of you do too. Firstly, I was thinking about with this idea of failing and feeling like we're not getting there, we're not getting this outcome that we want. I think one of the things that makes it so painful is that we're putting our identity on it. We're like, the fact that we feel like we are not managing to succeed in this thing, change this thing, the mind is then creating all this meaning around why that is. And quite often the answers that it comes up with is there's just something wrong with you. Like everybody else could probably have got this by now. You are stupid, you are inconsistent, you are lacking in willpower and discipline, you're lazy. Like all these things that my mind is spinning stories about me this week. I'm just hoping that you can relate to as well, and that maybe we're in it together a little bit today. But perhaps we can just see it as, yes, the truth might be we're struggling with this thing, binge eating, whatever it might be, struggling with this thing, and we still can't get to this place that we think we're supposed to get to. I don't even like the term binge eating recovery and this idea of being recovered, because it really does feel like this arrival, and it's not this arrival. It's this ongoing thing. They talk about recovery being a process, and I know when I was struggling with binge eating and I used to hear that phrase, I'd be like, yeah, recovery is a process. But if I'm not binging, that means I'm recovered. I didn't really understand what that meant. It just didn't seem to make sense to me until I lived it. And I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but I have this sense, this feeling like I'm waiting for something. Like I'm waiting, like something's supposed to happen, something's supposed to change, and that's when life will really begin. Sometimes it feels like something outside of me is going to happen. Sometimes it feels like there's something I'm supposed to strive for. And this idea of striving is exhausting. And quite often this end point that you're trying to get to is an illusion anyway. And the more you're striving, sometimes, it seems tantalizingly close, and other times it seems so far away, but it never really arrives. And so I think as well, like if you're in this feeling of failure, you're not getting the outcome that you want, chances are the outcome quite often is this behavioral, tangible thing. So it might be to stop binge eating. It might be because you want your body to look different. So I think sometimes when it comes to feeling like you're so far away from this outcome is about, like, maybe we need to take our focus off the outcome rather than looking at this tangible thing that we think we're supposed to have, be, or create. Maybe we just we come back to ourselves, because when we're focused on this thing, the focus is outside of ourselves, it's on the thing. So if you're striving and battling and you feel like you're in this fight, maybe what we need is to just, at least for a bit anyway, just to stop trying so hard. Take a rest, take a break from striving, and just come back to noticing, coming into sort of spending time with ourselves. So, when I was thinking about like identity, and like when I identify with like failing and not being able to do this thing, or not doing the things I think I'm supposed to do, when I'm identified with that in that moment, like I am a failure, I am a fraud, I am this, I am that. And it feels true because my mind is spinning these stories and I lose myself for a bit. And it's easy for me to come and sit and do a YouTube video. I feel incredibly grounded and connected to myself when I sit here and I talk to you. But I think that's also because I have this sort of identity around this. I have a sense that maybe I'm doing a bit of good in the world, like maybe what I'm doing matters to some people. And so it's easy to be with myself when I've got that identity, when I feel like I'm helping. It's much harder to be with myself on a Tuesday afternoon when it's just me, like sitting on the sofa, not doing anything, not achieving anything, not being anything. But that's the place that I need to come back to. When I'm feeling like this, when I've got stories running in my head about like failing at things I've been trying to do for years, I need to be able to come back to just me. Like, I say who I am now, but who I am now is a construct. It's an assumed identity. I'm Sarah, I'm the binge eating therapist. I do this, I do that. This is my story. This is how I talk about these things. But really coming back to like, who are you? Like, we make up stories about who we are. And one of those stories, if you've been struggling with something like binge eating for a long time, or any kind of challenge in life that you feel like you should be able to fix and you haven't been able to, there's a story that often emerges about, I'm a failure, I'm not doing good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. And the more wrong we think we are, the more invested we become in this outcome that's going to save us. And it's not. I don't think we need saving. I think we would benefit massively from being able to just be with ourselves. I feel like that is the goal. If we can manage that the majority of the time, all that other stuff is just noise. What really matters is how you think about yourself when you're by yourself. This feels like it was a bit of a strange video. I certainly am feeling very exposed. I will probably post it. I might not keep it up forever. I'll just see how I feel and see what your responses are like, really, whether this resonates with people or not. But yeah, I think the message that I would want to give you and me is, if you are striving and feel like you're not getting the results that you want, can you stop striving for a bit and just be? That's what I'm going to try and do. Okay, see you on the next video.